I'm smiling. If I drink and then I'm buying, and I know there's no denying. It's a beautiful day, the sun is up, the music's playing, and even if it started raining, you won't hear this boy complaining, 'cause I'm
Michael Bublé has quite the singing voice. I'm not surprised that everything lasts. I've broken my heart so many times I've stopped keeping track. I brought myself in. Wait, Michael Bublé sings Driver's License?
got my driver's license last week, just like we always
I don't like
talked
this.
about.
I don't like this.
You were so
I don't like
excited
this.
for me.
I don't like
Finally
this.
drive up to your house, but today I drove through the suburbs, crying 'cause you weren't around.
Good morning, everybody. It's the day of the week. I just went to buy bread from the bakery to give to my friends because they like bread, and I also bought a loaf for myself. And I have a shitty jaw, so now my jaw hurts. Oh. Oh. The doomed fleet.
You need something?
An evil taint has gained a foothold within the already beleaguered Duskwood. I thank the light we have a hero such as you to face it, but you must first prepare yourself for the coming trial. For the necromancer Morbid Fell is immensely powerful and has cast dark enchantments about himself to protect him from physical assaults. If you are to defeat him, you will need a weapon that is proof against these protections. Years ago, the Third Fleet of Kultiris sunk along the coasts of the Wetland, an expanse of marsh north of the dwarven kingdom of Ironforge. Aboard one ship was a load of Lightforge iron. This metal is precious to us, for items crafted from it strike with holy truth. If you are to face Morbid Fell, then you will need such a weapon. Go to Menethil Harbor and speak with my dwarven colleague Glorin Steelbrow. If that lost metal can be found, he'll know where to look.
Excuse me, sir. Bishop DeLavy asked me to approach adventurers that might be able to help him with a delicate matter. If you could quiet...
That should be a child's voice. Speaking of fortitude, I need to get the bronze too.
I'm not surprised that everything lasts. I've broken my heart so many times I've stopped keeping track. Talk myself in, I talk myself out. I get all worked up, then I let myself down. I tried so very hard not to lose it. I came up with a million excuses. I thought of every possibility. And I know someday that it'll all turn out. You'll make me work so we can work to work it out. And I promise you, kid, that I'll give so much more than I get. I just haven't met you yet. I might have to wait I'll never give up. I guess it's half timing and the other half's luck. Wherever you are, whenever it's right, you'll come out of nowhere and into my life. And I know that we can be so amazing. And baby, your love is gonna change me. And now I can see every possibility. And somehow I know that it'll all turn out. And you'll make me work so we can work to work it out. And I promise you, kid, I'll give so much more than I get. I just haven't met you yet. They say all's fair in love and war, but I won't need to fight it. We'll get it right, we'll be united. And I know that we can be so amazing. And being in your life is gonna change me. And now I can see every single possibility. And someday I know it'll all turn out. And I'll work to work it out. Promise you, kid, I'll give more than I get. Then I get, then I get, then I get. Oh, you know it'll all turn out. And you'll make me work so we can work to work it out. And I promise you can to give so much more than I get. Yeah, I just haven't met you yet. I just haven't met you yet. Oh, I promise you can to give so much more than I get. Love, 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 love. I just haven't met you yet. I just haven't met you yet.
Where's my engineer? Where's my engineer? Okay. Everyone watched the season finale of Survivor last night? It was actually a pretty good finale, I have to say. Not a great season in my opinion. It was very top heavy. The Tika 3 carried the season hard. And thank God they were Final Four, else it would have been not a good season.
Well, hello, adventurer. I am Bishop DeLavy. No doubt if you're asking me about my business here in the Keep, then young Thomas has succeeded in requisitioning you to help our kingdom. He has always been adept at following my requests. I'm afraid I don't have time to elaborate much, so allow me to be blunt. And please, try to keep this from becoming common knowledge.
Recently, a diplomat was sent to Theramore to meet with Jaina Proudmoore. That diplomat never arrived. I believe the Defias are involved in this plot, but I'm not sure how. The diplomat's disappearance still eludes public attention, but it can't remain that way for long. Agents of the king are already scouring the city for clues, but I have my own contacts I would like involved. In the Valley of Heroes is an old friend of mine named Jorgen. Find him, give him this note, and follow his instructions.
Oh wait, is this the scary quest?
What can I do for you?
Oh my, this book hasn't rested on these shelves since before the rebuilding of Stormwind years ago. It will have to be restored, of course, it's in bad shape. But I would be honored to place it within our rare books collection. Thank you, madam. Please accept this as payment for returning the book. Earning the Adventurer. If you don't mind a long journey, then I have a task for you to again help Stormwind fill its library. The old kingdom of Alterac fell after the Great War, and it had a large collection of books. It's a tragedy that the city is ruined, but even more tragic is all of their knowledge lost. We must recover what we can. South Shore is the closest town to the ruins of Alterac. Go there and speak with Lore Master Dibs. He can direct you to the ruins and to what books may be found there.
I have a few too many quests. I didn't speak to Tank. Well, we're doing some random questing because I like doing quests for lore. Now we are going to watch this video.
All right, everybody. I am so excited to be here with Carson. Carson, how are you?
I am, oh my gosh, I'm so happy. I kind of feel freed from the experience now that I can like finally talk about it. I didn't tell my family, I didn't tell my friends, so like they all experienced it with me the first time, and so it was so fun. And like they didn't expect me to get very far at all, and I didn't expect myself to get far either. So like I'm just so grateful for the experience. It was incredible.
Yeah, well, Carson, so nice to talk to you. Your enthusiasm about the show is infectious. You seem like you were having so much fun out there, and even coming out of the game, you were such a good sport. What was that like for you? Was this just the experience of a lifetime?
Yeah, I left the game with no regrets. I walked into that, I let all the emotions out before and was crying. I literally cried for like an hour in my interview, and then an hour in Jam Jam's arms. So like I let it out, and at that point I was like, you know what? I did my best. I couldn't have asked for anything more. I didn't even expect to do this well. So I mean, I walked in and I was like, whatever happens, I'm gonna be proud of myself. If I can just make a spark, I'll be so happy. Because I only made fire twice the entire like 6 hours we were preparing. I like was doing it for hours. So the idea that I even got it compared to like in some sort of a flame compared to the fastest fire ever done by Heidi, whose was incredible. Her fire was up in like 15 seconds. I was just so proud of myself, and like I couldn't have asked for anything more, and to have played with people like Carolyn and Jam Jam, who I would have been the die-hard fan for if I were just watching it. Like, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, you talked a lot about the push and pull of...
Take this here note to Elling Trias. Don't say nothing else to him. Just be polite and wait for him to respond, and don't worry, he will. I'm gonna only impress this on you once more, adventurer. Treat this matter seriously and keep your yapper shut. You can find Trias at his cheese shop, Trias Cheese, in the Trade District. Good luck.
Trias Cheese.
Can I help you? I'm sorry. A letter for me. Well, I'll be not often. You get a delivery that's not a crate or barrel when all you do is work. Let's see what this is about. You look a little tense. You okay, adventurer? Jorgen, you old son of a... So that's how it's going to be, huh? All right, I can deal with that. I hope he finds the twisting nether that much sooner. Here's what's going to happen, adventurer. I'll start using my contacts here, but you're doing most of the footwork, so I save some coin. Head to Darkshire and Duskwood and find Watcher Bacchus. He usually patrols the North Road right outside of town. Just tell him you're looking into any Defias activity for me, and he'll help you out with any information he can.
Light, no one's ever stolen anything out of here. Not in the whole history of
The whole history. Okay, I need to make an arclight spanner. Have copper for that. 30. And I need 6 for that then. $24 bolts. And then it's 2 rough blasting powder. So it's 48 rough blasting powder. That's got the blasting powder. Alright, back we
For the
go
Alliance.
for the Alliance. For Tinkertown. For the Alliance.
You know, you were aligned with Helen and Sarah at the start of the game, then ultimately decided to go with Jam Jam and Carolyn. Can you just talk a little bit about what went into that decision for you?
Yeah, it was definitely a mixture of things. I think that Jam Jam and I were very close, and that wasn't shown as much. We started really bonding, and it was such a weird dynamic at Tika at the beginning. We would never go off on our own. I don't know who was the Boston Rob of the group trying to keep us all together all the time, but we were never off the own. Someone goes to Waterwell, everyone goes to Waterwell. So it was like a mess, and we could never have like one-on-one conversations. Like that conversation with Helen and Sarah that I had in the woods, that was so quick, and that was like the only time we were separated from anybody. And so it was Jam Jam and I walked to get Tree Mail together. I don't know how we got separated, and that's when we really bonded. And I bonded with him before I even did with Carolyn, and I didn't want to start a relationship with anyone I didn't intend to work with, and make it look as though I'm being phony to Helen and Sarah. And so once Jam Jam and I started talking, it was like,
Good. Tinkmaster Overspark is very upset with the fate of his mechanical creation, TechBot. I remember TechBot as a kind and helpful tool for the gnomes, but Overspark tells me it's malfunctioned. Very sad, but with luck, perhaps he can be fixed. Speak with Tinkmaster Overspark in Tinkertown and Ironforge. He would welcome your help. I'm giving a speech on the fortitude of the spirit, and I'd like to recite passages from a particular book on metallurgy. The Stresses of Iron. A copy of this book should be in the Royal Library within Stormwind Keep. Can you retrieve it for me? If so, then may the blessings of the light be with you. The Royal Library is very large, but the head librarian, Milton Sheaf, knows each shelf like it was his own son. Speak to him. He'll retrieve the book for you.
Oh my god, I'm almost there. Turn on the jets, turn on the jets. Turn on the jets.
If you insert tab A into slot B, then of course it's going to go boom! Here, let me show you what I have, and then you can ask Lilium about how to put it together so it does...
Good day, team. You need to start learning things that are beyond my expertise.
Pass me that Arclight spanner.
He'll set you on the right course.
If you insert tab A into slot B, then of course...
Okay, we could really work. And when we met with Carolyn under that tree and hugged it out and we're talking, Carolyn she hugged me and she was like, "You're so sweet, you remind me of my son." And I said in my head, I remember thinking, I was like, I cannot betray her. I love her. She is so fun. And I like it was just like this feeling. And then also, like, obviously I knew about Sarah not having a vote, and I had to get Jam Jam on board regardless of where I was going. But I really felt connected with them on a fun level. They were just hilarious. The snoring thing, oh my gosh, they're so awesome.
So, okay, we saw the last couple of episodes that Jam Jam had been really considering voting out Carolyn. Even last night when you went on the reward, he was like, should we take out Carolyn? And you seemed like you were very against this idea. How did you convince Jam Jam that this was not the right move to make?
I really put into both of their minds that we needed it to be a Tika all Tika Final 3 in order for us to have any chance against anyone else in the game. Because for me, I did think I could beat them, and maybe that was wrong, but I do think my relationships with a lot of the jurors were a lot stronger than both of them, because a lot of the information to them would feed through me. Anything from Ratu would go through me, anything from Danny. And so I think I was seen as more of the face of Tika, and so that perception also caused there to be a larger target on my back. And so I think that, like, the three of us were working together, and, like, even though, like, you know, we were dysfunctional, we would end up pulling through. What was your question?
How did you get Jam Jam not to want to vote out Carolyn when he wanted to do?
Oh yeah, that feeds into okay. But I think that, like, my thing was I could beat them, but I needed them to believe that Lauren and Heidi would have gotten any other votes.
Don't let the
because
humans in the
Ratu
bazaar fool you, lads.
loved
With
Lauren,
the subway,
and
those
she has an amazing
gnomes
fitness
built.
story.
It's
And then
easier than they might think to
Heidi,
transport
I
goods
thought
from
she was easier to take further because she wasn't as keen on a lot of the votes, and it would be easier to take her out. Turned out to be the opposite, so that was a fault on my part. But I really wanted to get in their minds that we needed to be the three of us based off loyalty to have a chance, and I thought that that would be the best thing going forward for me. And so really also I had immunity, and I could put my foot down because no one could vote me out. So
yeah, that's a nice card to have. Okay, so we saw in the game, it was really amazing to watch at times where it was like, well, why is this person telling Carson things? Why is this person telling Carson things? And I feel like it was sort of like an underrated superpower that you had, where it seemed like that people just could not stop sharing information with you. Was that something that you did consciously, or did you find that that was just that you felt like that people were just doing it without you having to do much?
I think that it really was a effect of relationships I was building with everyone. Even at the beginning of the merge, I had a close alliance with Matt and Franny. We were the Dorcas. I had an alliance with Kane. We were the Golden Doodle Alliance. Lauren and I were extremely close, like as friends on a personal level. And then obviously me and Tika, I was friends with Brandon, and even Danny and I didn't expect me and Danny to be like friends out there, like in terms of like working together, but we ended up being these like tribal leaders that would go to each other and be like, well, we need to work together this time, even though we know
many books on the subject and are happy to aid Brother Kristoff with his speech. Now, which particular book was it the good brother needed? The Stresses of Iron. Yes, I know the book. Quite a good one. Written by the dwarven miner Margulf Blagan a few decades ago. He spent most of his time deep in the mountains of Casmodon, digging ore. Smart fellow. But where was I? Oh yes, The Stresses of Iron. I'm afraid the book was moved to the Northshire Abbey. The caretaker of the Abbey's library, Brother Paxton, wanted to make a copy of the book for his own shelves. But that was months ago. I wonder why it's taking him so long.
I wonder why myself.
we're going to turn on each other eventually. So it was interesting. Like, I would really focus on building those relationships, and a lot of times I would make people feel comfortable that like I was with them 100%. And a lot of times people didn't know where my votes were going, and so they thought I was still with them. And I remember getting back from, for example, the Brandon vote out, and Franny believed that I voted for Brandon, and then the Soka members believed that I voted for wait, oh my gosh, I'm getting confused. The Soka members believed I voted for Brandon, and then Franny believed I voted for, oh my gosh, oh sorry, and then Ratu and then believed I voted for Franny. So it's just a mess. So even like after even after Franny's vote out, like I was always able to do that damage control afterwards and make people still feel like I was working with them, and like that, even like telling Jamie, for example, that you know, Kane was actually playing the blindsider, and that I even told her, I said, he was planning to use Knowledge Pit's power against you, and I didn't even know that happened until the next day. And then I was like, oh, well, that's a great story, but yeah.
Well, Carson, you have such a great recall for this most days, and I'm really interested to know from you that I'm sure you've played this back. Like, where do you feel like that you could have made a different move that results in you winning the game?
Yeah, I mean, I really was banking on not dropping that ball at Samotion, honestly, or, you know, really the reason I was so set on taking Tika far and like instead of Lauren or Heidi also was that I thought I could convince Lauren or Jam Jam to turn on each other and take me to the final three versus anyone else. And so I was banking on either me or Jam Jam or Carolyn winning that final for immunity challenge, or not Heidi, and turned out Heidi, the worst case scenario for me, won. And so I always thought about, like, could I have switched Lauren and Heidi and changed the outcome? But I don't know. I think I would have really needed to either change the perception of me as the front runner and be able to own that at the end. But I don't know. That's the thing. I have zero regrets, and I'm not sure if there's anything I could do to really change the outcome.
Did you subscribe to the theory that we were shown the fire in your glasses repeatedly to foreshadow your eventual loss in the final four fire making?
You know, I hope that was something fun they did. I loved hearing that. Like, it kind of put an ease on me because it was like, okay, like people are expecting this now.
That's cool.
But I definitely at the beginning of the game, the first episode where they show me lose fire or like not do fire well, I was like, okay, yeah, this is gonna be a theme. So, but it was fun. I kind of like enjoyed the fun of it, and I hope that it was intentional, because if it was, super fun editing choice, like little Easter eggs. I'm all for that. That's why I wrote everything in NASA fonts.
Yes, no, that was really cool too. Okay, did you practice Samotion?
I didn't. I did think about the timing though, and I would do like little balls and put them on wheels. Here's the thing about Samotion, and which was really interesting, is that the two different sides and don't like go at the same speed. So if one finishes in like 1 second, the other might finish in 1.5 seconds. And so that made it so difficult to time. And I didn't realize that. And so that was one of my biggest issues doing it, is I was very like I was splitting it up into like certain seconds and then dividing into like time intervals, but one of the sides was different, and that made it so much harder to think of from a logical perspective. And I think it would have been easier if had I gone in without trying to think of it that way.
Okay, Steven had some questions about this. I'll play this for him, so he will get those answers. Okay, now so much was made about the 3D printing and all of the prep that you did before the season. Was that a blessing and a curse for you?
I love the 3D printing. I thought it was really fun, like in terms of having all the puzzles like known and stuff. It honestly boosted my confidence a lot of times going in.
Marshall McBride.
How? Mr. Sheaf is wondering where his book is? Well, this is a tad embarrassing. I have the book, but I'm still making my copy, and I'm not quite ready to give the original up. I've been meaning to finish my copy of The Stresses of Iron, but, well, you see, I make my own ink for books I copy. It's my own recipe. It doesn't run or smear, and it dries very quickly. Unfortunately, it dries too quickly. My last batch dried up before I could finish the copying job, and I haven't had the chance to make more ink. To make more, I need Rathbun iron ore from the Red Ridge Mountains. Foreman Oslo and Lakeshire is my usual supplier.
Alright, enough of this. Going to Iron Forge. All the blood on your blade is from what you caused.
Into challenges, even if I didn't know the puzzle, like I was like, oh, okay, I can do this, like, because I've done all the other puzzles. I just, knowing so many of the puzzles gave me a lot of self-confidence going into stuff that I was like, okay, it's a puzzle, I feel better on those than anything else. But I feel like it helped a lot of my game in terms of giving me security at Final 5. I think it could have been me. I think Carolyn and Janjin might have turned on me at that point. Even Carolyn was even considering it.
Yeah. I mean, as far as, sure, blessing in the game, but outside the game, the response to the 3D printing of the puzzles, did you feel like that people got very upset about that?
You know, they might have. I really don't like read a lot of it, if that makes sense. But if I totally
in that
understand,
case, nobody was upset about that, Carson.
I'm sure people were. I'm sure. If someone's upset about it, like, cool, yeah. I think, but I think like, hey, hate the game, not the player. Like, you know, I just did the best I could with
that's what they say.
The resources I had. So I think that like going forward, I hope that they do change a lot of the puzzles to not be as commonly seen previously. However, like, I'm proud of myself for breaking the game if I did, and if people are annoyed, sorry.
Sorry for you. Yeah. Okay. And then Carson, I know you have so much going on as you know, in your career and everything that you were wanting to do. So is playing Survivor again, much like your tribe mate Bruce, is that something that is especially interesting to you?
I would love to. It's crazy because before I started the game, the day before I started the game, I did my final interview with NASA Johnson Space Center for for their Pathways program, which converts you to a full-time position when you graduate school. And I started the game and I was late to the interview. I thought I did horrible. And so I started the game thinking, I just ruined my career. I didn't. I just ruined my career. I played this game. I was late to this interview. I did terrible. I had a 1 in 3 shot. I was so upset, and I was going through so much emotionally in my head. And like, I don't know, that might have translated to TV. I'm not sure. But when I returned home from Fiji on the airplane, the first thing I did was pull out my phone, and I got the acceptance for the program, and I just was weeping at the airport. The entire cast was like hugging me. So I don't know, like, would I risk my potential for a career at this point for it again? Maybe because I love the game. I don't know. It would just have to work well. I wouldn't. I'm not. I kind of. It's really hard to do with school, even though it sounds like it's easy. I found it really distracting. So I don't know. I'd have to weigh both options. But I love the game so much. I can't imagine saying
We
no.
can tell. We can tell. Yeah. All right. Well, Carson, thank you so much. I do hope that we can have the chance to talk a bit longer about your game down the road. But until then, all the best and congratulations on a great season.
Thank you so much, Rob. It's so fun talking to you.
All right. Take care, buddy. All right, I'm very excited to talk with our 5th place finisher from Survivor 44. Lauren, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing so well. Super excited. Came off just an incredible final episode and banger of a season.
Banger season, as Matt Blankenship said.
Right. And, we thought it was going to be Kane. I definitely was like, this is something that Kane said. So that was like the amazing thing of the night, figuring out that it was Matt.
Yes, the banger of the season. Okay. All right. So let me start off with you had a really great exit from the episode last night, and I feel like that the show really highlighted you.
Let's see, I need 60 rough blasting powder. I have 6 in my bank. And I used 48, I think. I don't know.
You at the final 5 vote. What's been the reaction to your final round in the game?
Man, my reaction, just watching it back, it was a great, a special moment for me to just share more of my story with the world, for people to connect with me and for me to connect with others. But then also, it sucked.
Oh my god!
It definitely
I
sucked watching it back, and I can hear myself the whole time I'm watching it at the watch party, and I'm like, Lauren, shut up, stop talking, because I feel like I was giving myself away. I still have a chance there, but the speech for sure, I knew I was going home. I really felt it, and I didn't find an idol, so.
Yeah. So how frustrating was that when they show you then how close the idol was?
So frustrating, because it's you're looking for it everywhere, and that island is so small, so there's only certain places you can look. And they say look for something unique, out of the ordinary. So you're looking in the trees. There's one unique tree on that island that I mainly looked in. But this idol was on a twig, just hanging above us, and nobody saw it.
In the past, in the new era, the players had been given a clue or a puzzle to solve to find an advantage. Was there any sort of clue to the location of the idol?
Not that I know of. And not that we've talked about. So I don't think so. And they didn't show anything. So no, I think
gang
it was
in the back.
Go for
finding it by luck. Yeah.
Full tilt boogie. Yeah.
All right.
So did you feel like that there was any sort of a plan? I know that you said that you felt like that people weren't really talking to you, but do you feel like was there any sort of thing that a name that got said, whether it was the plan against Jam or anything that you felt like that might have been getting some traction at the final 5?
Yeah, I definitely thought that Jam Sam was getting some traction. I talked to Carolyn, and I hadn't really been working with Carolyn, but I felt that at that moment, since we were going into the finals, that she would break loose from Tika. I knew for sure she wouldn't break loose from Carson, and Carson had one immunity. But I tried to get Jam just because I knew how social he was, so amazing of a player he was. But tried to get them on board, Heidi and Carolyn, while they went to the reward. But it didn't work out that way.
Okay. Going back to at the final 6, how big of a surprise was it to then not have Carson and Jam vote with you? Or were you not really expecting it to go that way at the final 6?
Oh man, at the final 6, like that was heartbreaking because they didn't really show it, but I felt like I worked very closely with Carson from the very beginning, like when he came onto Ratu, like when he got onto the beach, they showed him going to Matthew, but Carson came to me and was like, hey, like Jamie has this idol, let's work together. Like he was relating with me on like religion.
Interesting. Daylight's burning. Yes, it's true. TechBot has gone rogue. Please, can you help me? When our beloved city Noma Regan fell, a rogue spark must have jolted my poor creation TechBot. It once aided me and my associates with its countless gizmos and limitless store of information, but its positronic brain has polarized. Now it's negatronic, and TechBot's behaviors are reversed. It roams Gnome Regan in a frenzy, but perhaps it can be salvaged. Perhaps, if you can retrieve TechBot's memory core and bring it to me, I can discover the cause of the polarization and fix my poor TechBot. We've lost contact with Bingles! He was sent on a reconnaissance mission over Nomarig and hasn't reported back in over a week. I just know he's gone and blown himself up. He was last seen flying over the lock. Perhaps you can investigate, adventurer. You don't think I was always bald, do you? No, ma'am. It was the radiation leak in Nomarigan that caused this tragic hair loss. Before that day, I had the only gnome fro in all of Azeroth. Damn those damn dirty trogs! Damn them all!
Don't
Perhaps
you
it's
do
not
it.
too late, adventurer. We may still be able to save it. The city, I mean. Speak to Ozzy Togglevolt in Karanos. He and his partner Razzle are working on a solution.
Oh, you mean the vault? Whew. Not even close.
Talk to me. Be good.
Hate this music.
Pleased to meet. Greetings, adventurer. I'm a commendation officer acting on behalf of the Nomarigan exiles. It is my duty to assist adventurers who have received Alliance commendations.
The plans for my 20-foot-tall turkey baster are nearly complete. Now all I need is a 20-foot-tall turkey. You have a great
Would you
day
like to
now.
purchase something? Off and away.
Hey, the plans for my 20-foot-tall turkey baster are nearly complete. Now all I need is a 20-foot-tall turkey.
Bro, 1 level from target dummy? That is some cockatiel dicko.
Be seeing you.
Back to the vault, and then we'll fly.
Kitchen, like shows on TV, like talking about my family, you know, all these great things. So I really thought that I was, if I were to say like my main alliances, it would have been Carson, and then also like the Ratu members.
Mhm.
So I was very shocked, and then that's when I was just like pissed at Carson.
Yeah.
Because like you love him.
He said you weren't talking to him.
No, I didn't talk to him at all, and like I couldn't even look at him because he's so sweet and he's so kind. But then like now it was coming out, and everything was coming out into the open, but it was too late.
Yeah, so from what I understand about the season, you know, that the Ratu people felt very good with Carson, and, you know, Jam Jam seemed to have a good relationship with Jamie, and we saw a little bit last week of this group of 4. What was it like watching the episode to see how, you know, Carson specifically really had been keeping that Tika loyalty?
Man, it was like a dagger in my heart. I told him, I was like, you were the secret villain. Like you were the villain of the season, not like a epic, or like a big time villain, but like he was like an undercover villain. And Jamie said it so very well one day. She was like, he's like a Sour Patch Kid. He's sweet, but then sour, you know? So definitely explains him, like the villain, sweet and sour. And I couldn't dare to like look at him, talk to him or anything, because I didn't expect that from him.
Okay, so you were a member of the jury, and I really thought that you were somebody that your vote was kind of hard to figure out ahead of time where you were going to go. How did you ultimately arrive at Jam Jam being your vote?
Yeah, so from like what we just talked about, like I worked very closely with Carson and then also with Jam. And so we already had that social connection, and I kind of knew Jam's game. He was just very social, made great relationships, and just so genuine, as you saw like him throughout the game and in his confessionals. With Carolyn, I loved her. We connected as moms, but I didn't work very closely with her. She was very strategic, brilliant, but behind the scenes, and so we didn't really see that, and I didn't see a lot of her pre-merge game. So at the final tribal, I really was just waiting for her to articulate it a little bit more so I can understand it. And then with Heidi, I also related with her so much. She had that bomb move at the end, getting Carson out. But I still felt that Jam overall was able to manage his social relationships in a better way.
Oh my god,
and
I was
move throughout the
craving
game a little bit more
chocolate and I totally
strategically
forgot
than
that I bought myself
everything.
M&Ms.
Okay, was it close between Jam Jam and the other finalists?
No.
Okay.
Not for my vote. No, I went in, and a lot of people say like they're open to the vote. But to be honest, I went in thinking Jam, and I was like, this is who I'm gonna choose, and it's gonna be really hard to sway me.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit more about the final 7? I know that there was a lot of discussion in the Survivor world about the decision to stick with the Tikas and then not go with Danny and Heidi. Can you talk a little bit more about the decision that you and Jamie made at the final 7?
Yeah, to vote Heidi. I'm gonna just own up to that, okay? That was I think my biggest regret was voting Heidi, because let me tell you the thought process behind that. So we were working with Carson and Jam, and so we felt that we were just bonded with them more, and that we can split them later on down the line. And we just didn't have relationships with Heidi and Danny, and I couldn't trust them. There were previous votes before where they voted out Brandon, they voted out Kane, and they lied to us about it. So the trust level wasn't there, and we hadn't built it, and we really just trusted we really just trusted Jam and Carson more. Also, we knew that there was a Tika idol out there somewhere, and then also Danny had been looking everywhere for idols, and so we expected there to be something else. And so just in case an idol was played against us in some way, we had Heidi's vote there to kind of level that out.
Okay, thank you for going through that. You know, it's sort of like a rock and a hard place too, because also don't forget that an idol gets played on Carson also, so potentially, you know, people are asking you to put your votes on Carson, and ultimately then his votes are ultimately negated in that round. So it is, you know, a lot of unknown information in terms of what's going on there at that point. Could you talk a little bit about your bank of vote, which was a big part of the season? And then were there any points where you were close to using it prior to when you ultimately used it on the vote where Kane went home?
Yeah, so I really wanted to use my bank of vote, Brandon's vote out. So at that vote, we were talking about splitting the vote. Because Jam did come back to us and tell us, he said, hey, Danny's gunning for you. Like, Danny wants to get you out, Brandon. And Brandon was like, no, we're bros. Like, we're friends. Like, he would never, you know? And he wouldn't vote for Danny. He didn't want to put a vote on Danny. So I was like, okay, well, we can split the vote. I can use my extra vote and, you know, work it out that way. But it didn't happen.
Yeah, no, that vote was really big. It changed everything, I think, in terms of how the season ends up playing up. Can you talk about something that was...
Yeah, I do. That's funny.
Lightforge iron is a precious metal, but it sounds like your quest is a dire one. You've come a long way, sister. With luck, you might just find what you seek. And if you do get the iron, I know who can fashion it into a weapon against this necromancer you speak of in Duskwood. The shipwrecks off the shore here are the doomed Third Fleet of Kultiras, burned and sunk by red dragons during the last Great War. The fleet hailed from Lord Eron, but one ship, an elvish destroyer, Flying Osprey, was with it. It was shipping a load of Lightforge iron, and joined the Third Fleet for protection.
What can I do for you?
How do I still have 20 quests? I thought I just turned one in. There we go. Turn your heart to wetlands. Accept the cursed crew.
Greeting. I'm the sole survivor of the ill-fated Third Fleet of Kultiras, wrecked off the coast to the north. But although I'm the only member of the fleet still breathing, I'm not the only one still walking about. For on one of our ships was hidden a great and terrible treasure, and the eerie power of it keeps the souls of my brothers trapped within the ship's rotting hulls. But if you can free some of my brothers, then perhaps you can break their curse.
I need water. I've eaten too much chalky chalk.
Dunmoder has fallen to the Dark Iron Dwarves! My wounds are grave, adventurer. Most of the regiment was killed. The Dark Iron thugs attacked us before we could regroup from the Thandol Span ambush. Our leader, Longbraid, sounded the retreat horn. As we left the town, I was hit by a stray axe in the back. All went black. I awoke here in Menethil, but I fear for my fellow soldiers. Hope still burns within me. Perhaps Longbraid is still alive. See if you can find him near Dunmoder, person.
This is not right.
The Dragonmoor Orc clan was all but destroyed by the end of the Second War, after they lost control of their red dragon pets. The dragons were not very happy with their old masters and fiercely hunted the Dragonmoors. What few remained fled from grim battle and into the mountains east of Welger's excavation. Now they've gained strength and have an encampment northeast of Menethil. We want you to attack that encampment. Gather and bring me their war banners as proof.
Where would you like to fly to? Have a good one.
Alright, I have a minute 47 seconds to go on. That's good. I'm going over the cove. Scary. This is apparently a level 38 quest, so hopefully I don't die. Or else I would be very bored for the next 5 days. As long as this person doesn't turn evil and attack me.
What? Ah, yes, I remember Milton. A bookworm, no doubt. Bless him, and he's right. The ruins of Alterac still hold stores of knowledge in danger of being lost. Ogres now dwell in Alterac, and they don't care much for higher learning. Those beastly ogres now reside within Alterac's ruins, and I shudder to think what they're doing with the precious books still there. You must recover what you can, enter the ruins of Alterac, and search for tomes looted by the ogres. Get whatever you can find and bring them to me, but also seek out one book in particular, The Arm of Grelic. It contains ancient troll lore that I must learn, and the ruins of Alterac was the last known location of an intact copy
Oh, I
of
want to
this
go
book.
there. Sounds really cool.
Where would you like to fly to? Be careful.
Was another big moment in the season where that Heidi had the control vote, and Heidi was going to control your vote and make you vote against Jam Jam. And you said, "Well, hold on, that everybody knows I have 2 votes. Can you tell me, is this for 1 vote or it's just it's only for 1?" Do you know if because this we tried to figure out like what was the right move here, that if okay, Brandon is going to vote for Lauren, could you have given your extra vote to another person?
What's going on with these mountains, huh?
You know what? I probably could have.
Yeah.
That hadn't even crossed my mind
Okay.
at all.
Well, it took us like 5 days to come up with that. So
What
because
did y'all come up with? Like, what would y'all have done?
yeah, real quick, that if Heidi wanted to hurt Ratu, if the vote ends up with you being one of the people in the tie, then you can't re-vote on the tie. So then basically
Right.
your extra vote wouldn't be able to come into play. But I talked to Heidi. That's not even what Heidi wanted to do in that round. So
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. I know you are on a very tight schedule and need to run, but you know I did hear that you had gotten some good news today.
Yes. Okay, so I was surprised by Sia.
She does that.
To talk to Sia, you know, like, and she awarded me with a prize of 15K, untaxed, which is a blessing.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I know. So I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But just like such a blessing for her. Like, I was just taken aback just because she worked so hard for that, you know, herself. And to give something that she worked so hard for to me, like,
you must be the scout
is a
Braid said he would send. You cannot imagine how worried I have been. My wife Merrin has been sending me letters each week for the past month. She is part of the Welgar excavation team, but it has been nearly 2 weeks since her last correspondence. Surely something is wrong. Longbraid said that he would send a scout to check up on things if we did not hear from the team soon. I assume that scout is you, adventurer. Find Merrin at the excavation site to the east.
It's locked. It's locked.
Kind of scared here. He's level 30. It's Antho. I hate that.
It's too far away. So drop rate really this insane or what?
guess it's just a 100% drop rate. Oh, this is a spawn for a croc. That's kind of insane.
Making a special purchase? You have a great day now.
Did it go ship?
Recharging.
That was kind of scary.
I don't have it past that yet.
Come back here.
Is a blessing, and it shows her character and just like who she is as a person. So I felt very honored to receive that from her. Like tears are coming to my eyes right now. So like thank you so much, Sia, again.
She's been busy
for
today.
that.
Yeah. All right. Well, Lauren, really great to catch up with you. All the best outside of the show, and hope to keep in touch, okay?
Thank you. Thank
All
you
right.
so
Take
much.
care, Lauren. Okay.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
All right. We are here with the runner-up of Survivor 44, Heidi Lagares Greenblatt. Heidi, how are you?
I am great. Thank you for having me. Oh my God, I cannot believe I'm talking to you, but I'm grateful. So thank you
Believe
for
it, Heidi. We're here. Want to talk about this was what a surge here at the end here to go ahead and win that Final Four immunity challenge and put yourself into the fire. What didn't the jury get the memo? If you go into and make the fire at the Final Four, aren't you supposed to win the game? Isn't that what everybody says?
Right? I guess I did it wrong in a wrong way.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us.
Listen, it's amazing. So having that moment, it's a good moment for me.
Sure, no doubt. Can you talk us through that decision and how far in advance you had made that, if at all?
I had no idea I was gonna make fire until Jeff said something along the lines of like, "You just guaranteed top 3, right?" And I was like, "Unless I make fire." So it just was right on that at that exact moment that I needed to do it. Now, not until the very end is when I realized I was actually gonna do it. Because I wasn't sure if I was gonna pull through, if I was actually gonna make it work. And I'm proud I did, because that was like the hardest thing to do, to take that immunity off. Amazing. I can't believe I did it, and I'm proud I did, because that was a huge moment for me.
Well, you broke the record also for the fastest that it's ever been done. And I feel like that it keeps getting faster, but somehow you were the fastest.
I cannot. That is amazing. It blows my mind that in 44 seasons, that's the fastest. Wow. I know. I didn't. I was confident, but I never knew I could do it that fast. So I'm happy that happened. I hope nobody breaks my record so I can keep it forever and ever. But
Yeah.
no. That's amazing. I'm proud
Heidi,
of that moment.
they should retire it after this because your record was so good.
Maybe they should. I don't know.
They should. I mean, you could make 5 fires by the time we get off the call today.
Do you remember back in the day, like some people they're like, I'm gonna be an hour, and then the jury's like falling asleep.
Yes.
How
Yes.
calm, right?
Yes.
So amazing.
Yeah, Becky and Sandra, sure. So yeah, that's true. That's true. Did your background as an engineer help with Samotion?
That's a good question, because okay.
I need to focus here. God, Wetlands is just too busy right now. This is the second quest where I feel like it's too many people.
The situation is severe, that much is for sure. When we uncovered these bones, it attracted the raptors. These filthy beasts killed my brethren and trapped me. Merrin and the poor prospector up here helped clear the wetlands of these raptors, adventurer. Mottled raptors and mottled screechers are just west of the bluff there. Kill 10 of each if you can. That will be a good start to the vengeance I have planned for them. Here. The situation is severe, that much is for sure. When we uncovered these bones, it attracted...
Oh, thank the heavens you are here. It was horrible. We were uncovering some rare artifacts and we began to discover these large bones. Before we knew what was happening, these mottled raptors overwhelmed the dig site. Many lives were lost. Orma here, so brave, saved the prospector and me. He defended us as we ran for shelter. Now we are trapped, and our hard work lies in ruin. Here, take this note back to my sweet Terrell. It will explain the situation to him.
Just before the invasion, I uncovered a large tablet called the Goaz Stone. The translated text breaks off in 4 places. The text speaks of a divine plan and a doomed prophecy. I fear we are running out of time. I'm too old to go down and brave those beasts, but you are strong. Scour the excavation site and uncover the 4 missing tablet fragments. Eidos, Moda, Golm, and Neru. Search for them in ancient artifacts or where the soil is loose. Bring them to me so I can begin unlocking the mystery.
This guide is shit. It's shit. Rip Sulky. Nice.
Work complete.
That is impressive. Back to the boat. I'm kind of scared about this quest. The great crocs have long died out. The great crocs have long since died out. I don't know, maybe this is a good time to do this quest. There's so many people here. The guy I have to kill is level 29. And I'm level, like, not. And it's hyper spawning right now. Level 31 is doing it. Yeah, I might like go do the other things first and then come back. Since I'm using exorcism. Sorry, mate. I swear I'm not trying to steal these from you. I am proud of myself. I'm glad I found an easy way in to do that, and it worked. I just need a marine. I typically spawn on this deck, so I'm not gonna have to wait too long. I've been saved. I've been saved. Holy fuck, are you ult me, bruh?
Work complete.
Now I need a big guy. Big chomp. Alligator. Ah, Shiba.
It's too far away. That's still recharging. That spell isn't ready yet. That's still recharging.
Work complete.
I don't know why that quest
So
is
I know it's
100%,
all
but
about the
I'm chill
timing,
with it.
right? So as I'm putting the balls in the machine into motion, right? I'm like, okay, what is the timing for this? So it was a combination of timing, eye coordination, and squatting. Believe it or not, squatting. Because you gotta go left and right coordinated. And it's like, I knew when the ball was in the middle, then you throw the other one. And then it's like, okay, it has to be a third. And I'm like timing everything. So I do think that the engineering maybe unconsciously helped me happening. I felt so confident that I felt like I could throw two more but still be in it because I was so in it. At no point I felt like I was losing control of it. So maybe yes, maybe there is something about it.
Okay. Heidi, could you tell us a little bit about how close of a relationship you had with Jam Jam during the game?
Oh, that's a good question. I love it so much because we are both Puerto Rican, right?
Sure.
There is like this special connection between the two of us. There's just something about it. And we couldn't speak Spanish there, right? Because we want to be fair throughout the game with everyone else. But we knew we couldn't be a duo. We just knew we couldn't be a duo. They will break us apart right away if we did that.
Yes.
So as fans of the game, and we were playing hard, we knew we just couldn't do that. But at the same time, we had this special connection. Explain because it was almost something we just didn't talk about at all because we didn't want it to be on camera in some ways. But yes, it's undeniable that we have a connection there just because of our background.
Yeah, that's so interesting because I was surprised that we didn't see more of that on the show. But that's interesting that you two felt like that, okay, we have a connection, but we can't really let it be a thing for the other players because we'll get targeted.
That's exactly right. And to say that we're both 1 and 2 from Puerto Rico, first season ever to have 2 Puerto Ricans, and for both of us to be 1 and 2 is to say I'm so proud of that. But yeah, we just knew if we actually were a duo closer to each other, I'm so happy we made it that far.
Yeah. All right, Heidi, so last week there was a lot of talk about your idol and maybe what you could have done and potentially changed up the Tika 3 getting further into the game. Can you talk through some of the things that you might have been thinking about when you were out there in terms of what you should do
much
at the
damage
point
from my Retribution aura because he attacks me so much.
First, let me say, I stand by playing the idol and making it to top 5 with it, right? And at that time, for me, it was all about taking control of my own game and not letting other people make those decisions for me. So even though I didn't get any votes that day, I was okay with it because I was like, I'm making time, I was at peace. I knew I was gonna play it independently of whatever was said in tribal council, because I was making it to the next one, right? I went through all the permutations on how to use it, okay? Should I play it for Jamie? In my head, it was like, no way, I'm playing it for myself. Should I try to tell them that I have it and try to do something with it? Yes, I consider it, but the chemistries that we had at the time, and then throwing my name so much on the parchment paper, just didn't work out. It like, I really wanted to, but I think it's like, I had this undeniable thing that is like, they're not gonna work with me. So if I would have done that, maybe I would have survived for one more week or one more day, but then I would have been gone at 5. It would have been a big move, and they would have been like, okay, this girl's going out first, right? So I just knew I couldn't play that way. I wasn't playing for 5. I was playing for 1, and at that time it just didn't feel right, because it felt like I was gonna be 5 if I did.
What is this?
Wait, so let me ask you about another big point in the game, when you had the controller vote, and that was another one where a lot of people said, okay, well, why did Heidi do this? Why did Heidi do that? Can you talk through the decision that you made when you had the controller vote?
Fantastic. So thank you for the opportunity, because I've been dying to talk about this, right? I had the controller vote, and so many people are like, you should have put it at Ratu on Ratu, right?
Yes.
If I would have done that, you do the math. I'm assuming, without knowing Jam, that was like right after the merge. I'm assuming he's gonna go with me without knowing. We didn't talk to them before tribal council, right? So okay, I'm gambling. Maybe he goes for it. Matt goes for it. It actually, we all knew Lauren had the extra vote, so it would have been a tie. And then he's in self-preservation mode from everything that has happened at Tika. So I knew he was gonna be the one turning, and at the end of the day, guess what? I would have ruined my game, and then the same outcome would have happened, which is Matt going home. So I just knew I was gonna play it though, because so many people also ask me, why do you play it? It's like, because I'm playing Survivor too, right? So I was gonna play it, but I was also trying to make the least amount of ways with it, and then I was just gonna deal with the consequences after.
Yeah.
But one thing, the advantage gave me so much information, which I thought it was a disadvantage, but I used the information.
Literally, I've killed like 8 now and haven't gotten a single drop.
So that, even though it felt like a little bit of disadvantage, not really, because the information is power, and that's what I used to get all the way to final 3 for myself.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. That's really interesting and helps with going back to that book. You said that you were going to play it, so I guess I had assumed that you had to play it. You had an option of potentially not using it if you didn't want to. Is that correct?
So, in all honesty, I could have asked production, is this something I could just skip it or whatever?
Yeah.
And something they didn't show was I took a little too long to actually stand up and say it, because I was supposed to say it right after Jeff. And I'm like, am I doing this or not? So I really questioned it on the spot, right? Because I knew it was going to be a hard one. But I think I probably could have, I don't know. I didn't ask them. At the same time, in my head, I'm convinced I'm going to do it. No matter what, I'm playing the game. So I was taking the risk and then just dealing with the consequences.
Yeah, they want you to do it. All right. So did Danny ever find out that you voted for him?
Yes. And he did not believe anybody in the island. Everyone told him it was me. We have so many jokes about it because I lied so much to him about it. I was told that he went to Ponderosa, and the people in Ponderosa told him it was Heidi, and he still didn't believe it because we had a true bond behind the game, right? So when I told him I needed to do that to separate myself from him and show everyone else I was willing to write his name, I knew that he wasn't gonna go home that week, which is why I did it. He didn't believe anybody until I actually told him, yes, I'm sorry, it was me, I had to do it. I need to show them that I was not Danny Kaufman and that I could write it down.
Heidi, did you think you had any more votes before they got read at the final tribal council?
Of course, right? Like, I was hoping, and at the time I did everything I could, and I tried to explain my game there. Of course, I was fighting all the way to the end. The tribal council is so long and exhausting, right? But you better believe I was trying to get the people that maybe thought I will have a strong game. Johnson just had clearly a better game than me because he's the winner, and I will never take away because he's a fantastic winner. But yeah, of course I was hoping for more, and I was trying to get the numbers my way, right? But it wasn't in the cards for me.
Would you have rather have seen one of the Tikas go out at the final 5 if that was a possibility? If Jam Jam wanted to turn on Carolyn potentially at the final 5?
I would have 100%. I think so. It would have been amazing to have one Tika. One ride like Lauren at the end. Unfortunately, I was close. I was actually. They didn't show that. Like I was close with a lot of the Tika people there. I talked to actually Jam Jam and Carolyn about making it to top 3. The 3 of us. Maybe day 2 of merge, which is crazy because people were so eloquent the way they talk, and Jam Jam and I, we have the accent, and sometimes we don't conjugate the verb properly or whatever. I was like, these people are gonna outspeak us, right? Like, they're gonna be so good. And then Carolyn was
the Seal of the Crusader really helps because my ret aura is doing so much damage here.
The 3 of us made it to the end, so I just at the time I felt like that we had the best chance against each other because I felt like everyone else was so well spoken.
Yes. All right, Heidi, I know you have to run, but thank you for dealing with all the connection issues and a late night to talk with us this morning. So hopefully we can chat some more in the future, okay?
I cannot wait. Thank you. I love you so much, and I love your community. So thank you.
Love you too, Heidi, okay? All right, take care. My wife's favorite Heidi ever on the show.
That's right.
She tells me all the time. Yes. All right, take care. Bye, Heidi.
One more exit interview, guys. Don't worry, this is the last one.
All right, I am so happy to be here with the winner of Survivor 44. And if you're wondering if it's a thrill to talk to you, it is! Jam Jam! How are you?
I got the Rob Bell.
You got it. Jam Jam, I feel like maybe this is what it is now, but you look like $1 million. Yeah. Jam Jam, I was just, congratulations, first of all, but I was just so impressed with your game this season. And in my estimation, I just feel like that you were one of the greatest all-time social game players that we've ever seen before.
With that.
Did you know, as a lifelong fan, that you were going to be so good at this?
Obviously, yeah. I knew inside my heart since I was a little kid that I was gonna play the game, and I knew that I could only play how I do life, and every day to me was a surprise. So it was so amazing being able to play 100% how I am normally. And did I know? I didn't know, but I knew I was not gonna do bad. I knew I was gonna do good. Words are powerful, Rob. Like, I only saw myself winning every day.
Yeah. Well, that's how it ended up, but it wasn't just a straight shot from the start of the game to the top. You actually spent quite a bit of time at the bottom of the tribe, especially at the start of the merge. Do you think that that ultimately helped your game to come to the merge not being seen as one of the big threats?
It definitely not looking like a big threat or not looking like I had connections with people helped me and Caroline and Carson got to where we got. And we understood that because the thing with the three of us and the thing with me is like we were seeing the game of every person because everybody was sharing all the information with us, so we knew where the perception was and how we were favor. And we did that independently, each of us with different people. used it against them without them even understanding. Not even like it's at 7, they were like still there. I mean, they were talking about it, but she knew nothing.
Jam, from your perspective, what do you think was the best move you made in the game?
I think my best move, or the most important thing that I did that helped me connect with everyone, was at the Brandon vote. Heidi felt so guilty for controlling the vote against me. She gave me this amazing piece of information that Danny had an idol, but she didn't want to share it with me to connect with me. So I had Heidi trust in me. That was very important. But then Carson and Heidi wanted me to write Brandon's name down, like at the well, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. If you guys want to work with me, I'm gonna vote for Franny and look pretty at Ratu and say, it wasn't me. I didn't do anything about it. And I told Jamie and Lauren fast, I'm gonna vote for Franny. We did the votes just in case there's an idol. They go back to Brandon. I was like, but I'm gonna figure it out because I'm so thankful you saved me from Matt. We'll be always forever. I'm gonna put a mark on Franny's name so you know it was me voting for Franny, and you guys figure it out how you're gonna split it. They didn't split it. They come back, and I look pretty with Soka, and I look pretty with Ratu.
Yeah.
And they still believed that until, like, at the end, it was after Jamie left that they were like, oh my God, they were really against us.
Yeah. I also thought you did so well, like the vote before that you mentioned, where it was you against Matt, that I feel like that you really, that could have been a very bad situation for you, and you really set yourself up so well coming out of that.
Yes, when I got that Matt thing was important. You're so right, because after I survived Josh vote, I survived Josh because Josh had more enemies than I had at that point, right? So, but when I got votes, because Kim didn't want to be the second option, and I got those 3 votes, the first thing I did when I came back in the morning was I sat next to Brandon. I was like, you haven't. I know you voted for me. I forgive you. This cannot happen again. Like, what do I need to do? Like, I'm by myself here. So I connected with Brandon in such a way that when they got us at the Soka camp, like they split us, the tribes, we had connected. So that was an important part of my game, because Brandon knew I was okay with him. Had I not talked to Brandon after the Josh vote, he would be there and be like, well, Matt is working with me, Jam is the one that I voted, so let's do this again. But I meant that really, really fast.
We saw you over the last couple of votes talking about potentially wanting to vote out Carolyn and ultimately deciding not to do that. Can you just take us through what you were thinking about wanting to vote out Carolyn and how close you came to actually pulling the trigger?
Nobody understood Carolyn like I understood Carolyn in the game. Obviously, we're not watching professionals. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But I knew there was a lot of a good player in there.
Yeah.
I was the only person that was with her from the beginning. And I saw her moves. I saw her when she didn't get what she wanted. I knew what she was like successful at stuff. So nobody saw the Caroline that I was seeing. And I was so afraid that she was gonna get to the end and do like the Scooby-Doo, like, I'm the villain and this is all I did. So scared that I was telling everyone she's gonna win, she's gonna win, she's gonna win, she's gonna win, we're gonna take her out. But Carson didn't want it. I could not have done it with Carson because then I would have been left without Carson on the next boat and the girls would have gotten with Carson to get me out. So I had no idea she was not gonna do a good final tribal in terms of what I saw. Like, she did good, but the Caroline that I saw playing was not what was explained.
Right. Okay. Yeah, you knew the whole story of Carolyn. She was the only person to get one over on you even this season, early on in the game.
Dude, that was like so intense. Like,
yeah.
I almost died, and then Josh's face, like, he was so mad at me. I was like, Really? Really? I was like, really? Dude, you won. Like, what's the deal?
Yeah.
I mean, and that vote he won, but
Okay. Did you have any idea that Carolyn had that idol?
I always knew that if anybody had it, it was her always.
Yeah.
Everybody was like asking me, "What do you think?" I was like, "If anybody has it, it's Carolyn. If anybody has it, it's Carolyn. If anybody has it, it's Carolyn." When Carolyn goes to me, when I won immunity and I get with Lauren and Jamie, and they're like considering playing with us, but I was like, "This is the moment they are going to. If they are paying attention, this is the moment they need to flip. It's right now."
Mm-hmm.
To get one of us out. So Carson was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, blah blah blah, do this. And I go to Caroline and I say like, girl, if you have an idol, you need to play it today. She was like, I don't have it. And then she walks away. And then she comes back and she looked at me like she looked at that first tribal against Helen. And she looked at me in a way that I was like, this girl has the idol. Because she was like, are you sure? Are you sure you're gonna do that? Are you sure? Tell me. And she held my head. I was like, tell me. It was the same face.
She had the twinkle in her eye.
When Helen went out. You know, I was like, wait a minute. I know this look, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
So happy she did. I mean, I think it would, obviously knowing now what happened, we're probably not needed to be used, but it definitely guaranteed, it was like a little insurance for us to go.
You know, we found out late in the game about your superpower that you explained last night, that you would...
What brave adventurer sends word from Menethil? Ah, adventurer they call you. You bring hope to a hopeless situation. 'Tis good news indeed that young Harlow survived. While fleeing, he received a grievous wound. We had but little time to send him on his way on the back of the only surviving steed with the regiment. But now we face a perilous situation. Don Moder has fallen, and we are but a shadow of the great regiment. Many of my soldiers died in the Battle of Don Moder. My own brother perished when the west bridge over the Thandol span was destroyed. Aye, the Dark Iron Dwarves are a devilish breed. From what Rogo was able to gather, the leader of this band of thugs in the wetlands is a warlock named Balgarus the Foul. He is quite a coward, however. He sends his soldiers to do his bidding, but stays elusive, avoiding danger. If you can find the spineless scum, slay him and bring me his ear. I will reward you, adventurer.
You know, ask people about their personal lives, and you'd be able to tell when they had that twinkle in their eye, when they were lying to you, that then you were able to tell because they didn't have that same sparkle. Was there a time when you used that against somebody?
I used it against people, like, for example, like, I knew that when Kane was, like, being sketchy with me and, like, the way he would talk to me, like, his demeanor would change. I used it to gain information and to gain trust with people in a way to disarm them. Like, I would look at Jamie and I would say, like, you're thinking on another stuff, right?
Yeah.
She was like, how do you know? I was like, I know, like, what are you thinking? And then people would, like, open themselves. And, you know, it was fun. It's fun, but it's something I do every day. Like, I deal with a lot of public, and I have to make really fast connections with people to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's not that I'm evil. It's just that
nobody. You definitely hope you're not getting that from me. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I don't want people to like. Yeah, but yeah, I use it. I know it, but
I think it's a thing of beauty. I love to watch people who are good at this game.
Yeah, but when you have a hair salon and you have people walking in, and in 5 minutes I have to convince them to spend a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that you
I got the best deal anywhere. Yeah. Okay. How confident did you feel about an Altica Final 3? Because it did seem like that the jury seemed to really appreciate what Carson was bringing to the table.
Carson was very obvious about what he was doing in terms of he looked powerful, right? Like he looked in a good spot always. But I knew I could say my story in a good way.
Yeah.
I knew, and this is something I talked to Carson about. I was like, the only thing I wish I had done was beating you at the final table.
you wanted more. Jam Jam, that part of your story in the beginning of the merge was if you write down Jam Jam's name, you go home. And it seemed like that was going to be your story, but it seems like that ultimately in the end, it feels like that you didn't lean too much on that. Did you decide not to really lean on that part of your storyline in the final tribal council, or did we just not see it?
No, I told them.
Yeah.
I told them, you guys are there in that order because I wanted you there in that order. And because after Brandon left and Soka was officially working with Tika, like they gained our trust.
Yes.
Or we gained whatever. Like they trusted us. They were gonna vote Lauren out. And I tell them right there, I think it needs to be Kane. And they're like, no, but Lauren's more social.
Kane?
She has a beautiful story. And I was like, yeah, but I think Kane is more important to get out now. And I go to Carson to the side and I was like, I need you to help me get Kane out because he voted for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was personal. So, yeah.
Okay.
But I did talk to them about it, and they were very perceptive, and they like that stuff. We're all fans. They like.
Yes. Okay. Now, Jam Jam, of course, you are, I know, a lifelong fan of the show. You came out here, you won, you accomplished what you wanted to do. Is this it? Would you go back?
Oh my God, I would go back tonight if they take me.
Tonight?
Tonight, fuck that. We'll do everything.
Yeah. That I know you have a lot going on today. Anything else that you wish we would have gotten to have seen?
I think Jamie's story was so important to me, to my success, and to the story as a whole, because Jamie was a really good player. Jamie was very strategic. Jamie was counting the vote. Jamie was playing at another level, which is why the three of us had to be one step in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
She was always there. And the way her story was told was not, in my opinion, in the best light. And because she's super loved, super intelligent, and my connection with her. You see these clips that were always sitting next to her. And it was an important part of the story, and for people to understand how we got to where we got.
Yeah, she spoke very highly of you in her press last week, so that definitely started to come to light a little bit. Jam Jam, again, congratulations on everything. Really, really great job across the season, and enjoy the success and the victory, and I hope that we can catch up and have a longer chat one of these days, okay?
Love it. I would love to. Any day.
All right, Jam Jam. All right, take care. All right, bye.
I want to go to Jam Jam.
What a safe answer, Mark.
No, I'm really looking forward to like all the players expressing themselves on the broadcast.
Fill your tank and pull up a chair.
That sounds
We've stories to tell. And
That would be
cakes to
so
empty.
fucking hilarious. I mean, I don't. You probably have not gotten to this point yet, Vulcan, where like you guys, like, I want to know what this looks like. Like, are you guys gonna all go out to the LCS? Like, are you just not gonna show up to the LCS studio? Is there a world where you guys would be out in front of the LCS studio? I want to know what my coverage plan can be for this. Am I able to like go out in front, stand on the sidewalk, and interview you guys? I think that would be very fun.
That's the thing about gamers, right? It's very easy to get people to not show up. and if you want to get people to actually show up with the signs, that's like the next big step. So we don't want to like shoot too high. With
That's fair. That's fair. I understand that. It's the alternative between do you want to sleep in and not have work on next Friday or on Thursday, or do you want to go stand out in the sun and...
My thanks to you, adventurer, and the gratitude of my cursed brethren goes to you as well. To break the curse and free all of my brethren, the thing stowed on my ship must be retrieved and cleansed. I don't know what it was, but I do know that it was stored securely in the ship's strongbox, which Captain Hallandor lorded over. My old captain is still in my dreams. I know he walks my doomed ship, the Intrepid. Get the key from him and use it to open the Intrepid's strongbox. Then, after you have the cursed thing... Need help? The captain of the Blind Princess will be relieved to hear this precious cargo has been recovered. You have well earned this payment for services rendered. It is good to see dependable folk like you, especially in trying times such as these.
And I wonder if you know what it means to find your dreams come true. Bing, bing, bong.
Hello.
Little ding, ding, dong.
See you around.
See you soon. Here, let's...
What's on your mind?
How are you? Hello.
See you soon.
Well met. Well fought, adventurer. The Dragonmaws are not the same threat they were when they had dragons, but they're still fierce opponents. The Dragonmaws are led by Nekorosh, son of Nekros, who was the former head of the Dragonmaws years ago. Nekros used powerful magic to tame the red dragons, but when that magic failed him, the dragons were not happy. Nekros was killed, and his son has vowed revenge against the dragons who slew his father. While you were fighting the Dragonmaws, we discovered more of their plans. Nekrosh has built catapults and aims to lay siege to Menethil. And with the fighting in Dunalgaz, we're effectively blocked from reinforcements. You need to take out those catapults. They're in the Dragonmaw encampment. Here, take this tinder. Fight your way to the catapults and light them with the tinder. And after you've done that, find and kill Nekrosh. We need to cut this Dragonmaw beast down at its neck.
You need something? Have a good one.
Touch grass with
Yeah.
a side and stuff.
So I think in a world where the walkout happens, I think we'll see teams scrimming on those days.
Okay. I wish that it wasn't that, because I actually think, like, I think it would be sick if you guys actually did show up, or at least some of you guys showed up, and then like local LA news and like different media outlets actually came out and like reported on the situation. Because can you imagine what that looks like for Riot, right? Where it's like the headline of like video game players are walking out of their tournament or whatever. Like, it. First off, just from the media perspective, I do feel like traditional media would eat this up. Now, would they take the reporting and coverage of it entirely seriously? I'm not sure. But like, Riot has already had a deal with one very notable labor conversation and conflict with California that they settled recently. Like, all of that coverage for that would be brought up again in like, oh, this is the second. It's worth noting that this is the second time that Riot Games, based in West Los Angeles in the Sawtell area, has dealt with labor issues. Blah 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 blah. Like, I do think there's a chance where if you guys actually did go through and do this, that it could be very impactful and to Riot as a whole in terms of coverage and stuff. So I don't know.
We'll see. Yeah, there's value to it.
Yeah.
Don't suppose you'd be interested in becoming my apprentice, would you?
Raz doubts that the news will show up, and I understand
much too
what
old
a
for one
spicy
thing.
story this would be
Besides,
for media to cover.
Okay, do I get 3 stam and lose 3 spirit? Yes. Ding. Ding. Oh, I don't have to wear that ugly yellow cloak anymore. That
Hey
makes
there.
it all worth it.
Safe travel.
Croco Gumbo. Cracky Gumbo.
You got my attention.
Such horrible news! At least 3 of them survived! But when will the killing end? I long for the day when King Magni's subjects can live without fear.
Why are there raptors here? That seems not right. Not right.
From 5 different angles, so
Just right.
I disagree with him, but on many things lately. All right.
Mom and Dad are fighting.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah. All right. I guess the last quick thing we want to touch on before we get into calls maybe is TSM. Vulcan.
Yeah.
They took your advice. Andy took your advice. They are moving to another region because they want. They're tired of these lazy North American pros. And as a lazy North American pro yourself, I'd love to hear what your take is on the TSM situation. He's thinking, by the way, podcast listeners. That's not your audio did not cut out.
First too, if
Go ahead,
you
Mark.
want.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, it's something that I thought a lot about, and I think I would say it's like kind of in some ways a win-win for the org and the LCS. I don't think it's a win for their fans, despite the fact that the fans seem to mostly be on the side of the organization currently. I think it's very abundant that they pulled back a lot on their investment into the LCS. Whether you can say it's justified or not, they clearly lost faith in both the like competitive chance of winning, as well as like the profitability, I guess you would say, of like marketing and NA. Like they still had the legends a little bit, but they definitely, like, compared to the days of old, it's like they were not invested in the scene the same way that they were.
But don't you think that's just because the LCS broadcast was so biased against them, Mark? And the other teams and the other players and the fans.
Who can say? No, I think there's a perspective that some people have that like TSM fans just weren't used to like the broadcast being negative towards them because they were always good before. But like when you looked at the coverage of teams before, it was they're usually pretty honest about calling things out that they don't like. I mean, whatever. that's neither here nor there for me, because it says Reggie said that they've been working on this for years. So it felt like, I don't know whether it was the Sword Art deal or what kind of was the straw that broke the camel's back, but at some point, maybe it was Vulcan, that convinced Reggie to get out of North America. And since then, they have not been invested. So, like, from an LCS fan, not a TSM fan, but an LCS fan, you should be kind of excited that they're leaving, because they were not, like, a great partner recently, you could argue, because of that. For TSM, it's good because they're finally out of this ecosystem that they didn't want to be a part of, right? And then the loser, to me, I guess, would be the fans. And that was kind of what Azael was saying, and I think a lot of fans did not like what Azael was saying, and there was a big disagreement there. But I think the perspective that he has, and that like a lot of people have, is that coming from a T-sports world, traditional sports, like when a team leaves a region, a city, like usually those fans kind of get mad, you know, like the Seattle Supersonics going to the Thunder in Oklahoma City. Like Seattle fans do not like the Thunder. They root against them. They got abandoned by this organization because they didn't believe in the market of Seattle, and they went somewhere else. And people don't like that. And I think that's the perspective that a lot of people who are not TSM fans looking at it have, where it's like, these people, when TSM goes to China, we don't know for sure what they're going to do. Well, one, we don't know for sure it's China. I'll say that. I'm just assuming it's China, given all their recent investments and stuff like that, and their whatever. But like, usually, you know, like I can't imagine them continuing to highly produce content for a region that they just left. Like, if they don't believe in North America for whatever reason, and they're not producing content while they're here, why would they produce more content when they're in China? Like, they're just gonna, I think, swap to, if it is China, whatever region they end up going to. Could be Korea, I don't know.
Well, Mark
But
just
whatever
leaked
region
it,
they go
everybody.
to-
He's
No,
in the
I
know,
don't-
clearly.
I don't know anything. I'm just saying, like, if they go to a non-English speaking region, they're not going to produce English speaking content because they just stopped doing that while in an English speaking region. Like, I don't think that if you're a TSM fan, you're going to be well serviced by whatever region they go to. Like, there's still other esports that TSM's a part of course. You can follow them through whatever English coverage that League provides for them. You know, like there is English broadcasts that you can follow for these other regions. It's not like you can't follow TSM while there, but I don't think that they're going to cater to you as an English speaking TSM. I could be wrong. Maybe they will produce a lot of English-speaking content with their Chinese or Korean players for some reason, but I doubt it. And so, like, I think that's the perspective for why non-TSM people or non-TSM fans are looking at it being like, you guys are getting abandoned, TSM fans. Like, the org is leaving you. Shouldn't you be mad about that? And I think that's where it's kind of like disconnect, where some people think it is a middle finger to the fans, some people don't. Yeah. So like those are the three angles I see. Is like it's kind of good for the LCS, it's kind of good for TSM, and like it's not good for TSM fans. Is like I think the loser, but maybe I'll be wrong. But I don't think it'll be like this big blow up thing. I think like slowly people will just fade from.
So you,
from once they
Mark, would not say good fucking riddance. You're not as based and hard as Azael.
No, Azael has balls the size of watermelon, and I can't compete.
By the way, a quick correction, because I saw this discussion a ton about Azael on the Reddit thread, and I was banned from the Reddit thread, or banned from the subreddit, so I couldn't talk at all in it. But Azael, not a Riot employee. So when everybody was like, how dare a Riot employee say this? Azael, not a Riot employee. 2, I'd much rather have casters that speak their mind than have a bunch of Riot bots that only say what Riot's approved talking points are. And I think it's actually really cool whenever the casters say what they think, because I'm sure it is not always easy to disagree with your employer, and I think it's sick whenever they do that. So I just disagree a lot with that, a lot of the takes in that Reddit thread. All right, Vulcan, you got anything quick for us, or we can hop into calls and you can just respond to the takes from the callers?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Mark's that it felt like TSM wasn't very committed to building a competitive team, and like they weren't very happy being part of the ecosystem, like he said. So also heard from behind the scenes that the team, like the players and the coaching staff, didn't have very much support at all coming out from like higher ups or like outside of their own little bubble, and they were very much like isolated and doing their own thing, which is a little bit demotivating, I guess. It can get like, you know, if you're representing this org that doesn't really care about what you're doing or how you're doing it, or you know, so yeah, we'll see. Hopefully someone like a new org comes in and they actually want to be there, and they commit to building a competitive roster, and it just that helps the league as a whole.
Yeah, Numi in the chat saying their NACL team, for instance, had no coaches. So they were literally just trying to figure out what the bare minimum was that they could do.
Yeah, that's like
Well-
2016 the Challenger teams. They had like player coaches. Yeah.
All right. Now we've done this for a while. Let's get into calls. I can do an ad read while Mark starts collecting takes. But Mark, anything
All
you're
right,
looking for in
before you
specific?
get in there, just for people in Discord, start posting your takes again. Hopefully, you can follow up on some of the things we said, so I don't have to like go back to 8:12 p.m. and find one that's like maybe not relevant anymore. Yeah, feel free to repost them. Normally, I would say don't do that, but in this instance, it's okay to repost as I go through and look for takes.
Very good. And if you are a sub, you can put it in the subtopics chat. Just make sure that you sync your Twitch with your Discord so that you can get access to that. But yeah, pleb topics, subtopics, put your takes in there, and then Mark will pull you into the waiting room. Make sure your mic or your headset is unmuted so that you can Mark can hear you, or you can hear Mark whenever he joins. And
Killing is a dirty business, but you did your job well, adventurer. If I weren't obligated to stay with the Prospector and Merrin, I'd be down there shedding blood right alongside you. Now it's time to really make those dreaded raptors regret their bloodthirst. Just down below, there are scores of mottled scythe claws and mottled razor maws. Make those rotten creatures pay by slaying 10 of each.
And there we go. So, but first, I'd love to talk to you all about OnePlus. This is our last episode with OnePlus. We loved working with them during MSI, and it was actually super cool to have them as a partner, because I could not have gone to MSI if it wasn't for them coming in to help cover a lot of that. And we have some more content, some surprise test content, and one or two more interviews, I think, coming. But I just really want to say thank you to OnePlus for sponsoring that. We have a giveaway that is, if you're watching live, you can join. There's 2 hours left. There's a link in the chat. You can do !OnePlus to get it to pop up. Though if you all do it, then it'll only pop for the first thing. And you can win a OnePlus 11, and I will ship it to you if you win it. First, I have it in my apartment here, and I will ship it to you. And I used it while I was in London, and really enjoyed it. It's a good phone, and I think you can play some pretty good games on it. It's got a beautiful display. It's just like a really awesome product. It just came out recently. Also, check out the OnePlus Pad, which is their tablet, and I loved the OnePlus Pad. I played a ton of a game that Mark doesn't allow me to talk about in the show anymore. It's banned, much like something in Twitch chat got banned, a word, and I actually loved using the OnePlus Pad, and the keyboard for it. It was super fun. Like I'd go to the, I could edit stuff on my laptop in the hotel, but I would go over to the venue and I would bring the OnePlus Pad with me and actually be able to like upload stuff from the SD card using the SD card reader into the USB-C slot there, and just do all sorts of stuff. So it was actually really fantastic to have their products available at MSI for me. So thank you so much to OnePlus for sponsoring. Really appreciate it. We'll be announcing that winner in the next day or so once Numi goes through and handles all the logistics on the back end. But again, now's your chance. Go enter for a chance to win a OnePlus 11 phone. Really cool that they did that. I see the entries ticking up, so thank you guys for doing that, because entering is actually really helpful even for my metrics when I talk to OnePlus. But if the show is over and you're listening to the VOD or something like that, just tweet at OnePlus and let them know that you appreciated them sponsoring my content if you have Twitter. It's actually also a really helpful way. So either way, thanks so much to OnePlus for sponsoring, and I think we're ready to get into some calls. So Mark Zimmerman,
Alrighty.
do you want to head on in? Oh, off it goes.
You really wanted to.
Thank you to some subs. Alpha Shanatonin gifted a sub to Vulcan. I'm sure he'll appreciate. I'm surprised he's not already subbed. 1997, 30 months. Rolama, Flick Nickum, Jampire, Jobadiah. Let's see. PP Doc, great name. Bayora, Death Star OG, Old Slice of Bologna, St. Louis Slayer, 24 for 59 months, almost 5 years. Matei, Ventus Official, Tomax of Dagger Spine, and Nuvik. Thank you all for the subs. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. I'll be sticking around after the stream, hang out, so please stick around. Gordo is here. Gordo, where are you calling from?
Hey, Travis. I am calling from the Chicagoland area.
Chicagoland area. Well, good to have you on the show. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah, so my take is with NACL being dropped and everyone talking about how it wasn't really effective in its current state, and looking at TL Steve's video primarily, basically all of the arguments for why they wanted to drop NACL boil down to not enough players were getting promoted. And my take is that with both teams and apparently existing players preferring imports, Riot needs to either further restrict imports or further incentivize using domestic talent to create a real effective path to pro.
Yeah, do you want to elaborate a little bit on that last part, or on any part of it if you want to make any points? I like this take, by the way. Go for it.
Yeah, so, I mean, going more into Steve's video, right, his arguments in that video are basically, you know, only X% of players get promoted. It's not a good value for orgs, parentheses, because players aren't getting promoted, and you know, and that it's not an effective path to pro because players aren't getting promoted. And this is kind of extrapolating a bit off of what was in the C9 Stratus Discord, to my understanding. But apparently, like, not promoting copy, for example, was something that could be praised. At least Jack claimed that they wanted to promote copy internally, but the players thought he wouldn't be able to compete internationally and preferred some sort of import instead, and ended up with Diplex and then a Menace as a result. And my basic thinking there is, you know, if the orgs are willing to prioritize imports over any domestic talent, and players currently on orgs, you know, understandably are looking to get foreign talent as well because they believe it'll give them a better chance internationally, it has to be Riot to step in and either decrease import slots or further incentivize having domestic talent promoted.
So I have generated this meme while you were speaking, which I feel like accurately we're continuing the Eric Andre LCS crossover from Mark Zimmerman. Like, I like this take a lot. I find, like, I think Steve has good intentions and wants to win, and that's why he does stuff like this. But it is just, I was talking to Mark about this yesterday, where I'm like, it's so frustrating whenever you see Team Liquid have 4 different top laners in 4 years. Actually, maybe 5 if you count like the Alfari not playing type thing, and insist on the idea that they must have a top laner from a different region.
Claves.
And then consistently replace these top laners because they're not working out, and then talk about how NACL talent doesn't get promoted. It's like, what is okay? Like, you might think that not very many much NACL talent gets promoted, but also your top laners never stick around. Like, you're not even clearly the ones you're choosing instead of the NACL talent are also failing you. So, like, it feels very disingenuous to me whenever you hear team owners be like, man, these NACL pros, they just never get promoted. And it's like, because you're never fucking promoting them because you're so insistent on using all these other pros. And I know, Mark, for talking to you, you have another angle on this.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, that one to me is more like turnover. Like, if you want to use your import slot in top lane, but you just, like, keep signing people without, like, I don't know, properly checking if they're going to be a good fit or something, you know, like, that's different. But, like, there's just so many pros, and I feel bad naming names, because, like, on a single one of them, I don't, like, have a huge problem. But it's, like, in aggregate, where it's, like, all these guys who get jobs, if we're being honest, because they fucking know the guys signing them. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what happened with Blue. Some of the other players that come over, like, I think, like, a lot of them, the times they have connections, and even when they don't, it's still sometimes we're like, I don't know why this guy's here. He's like, like they're fine players. Like no offense to Finn, like I don't think Finn got signed because he had a connection at CLG. I think he made Worlds, but like anyone with eyeballs who understands League of Legends and was not the reason they made Worlds. He was like a good system player, role player. He is good, but he's like not the guy who wins you things, you know? And like that, he's not the reason that team made Worlds. And like to sign him over an NA player is ridiculous. And there's like a lot of these kinds of guys. Like Pioshik is an example. Like they didn't win Worlds because of Pioshik. Like yeah, he was good enough to not hold like an insane caliber roster back, and like at his times he can do certain things. But again, anyone with eyes will tell you that that was a bad signing from like a like what this guy probably cost you to get. I don't know. Maybe he was cheaper because he was struggling to find a team at the time. But like there's certain players who just get imported where you're like, this is just stupid. Like anyone, like we might not say, like, I don't want to shit on a player and like make a community hate them. So I will often I will admit that I pull my punches in my content before the season starts sometimes around players that I'm not convinced by, because I don't want to start a hate train around it, because I know there's this kind of sentiment about players getting over imported. But there's certain ones who I think if you are worth your fucking name in esports can tell you that guy's not worth it. Like there's no reason to bring that guy over, and they do it all the time in NA. And then to your point about like, them being like these players just aren't getting promoted, what's going on? It's like it's right there, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
If I may, like, and after 10 years of this, I think a lot of the community just kind of buys into it and believes NA talent is worse by default. Like there a lot of people, even people supporting the NACL, often are conceding the point that like it'll make us worse, but we should do it anyway for viewership or for relatability or something like that, when it's like I'm not even sold it's going to make us worse compared to some of the players we're importing.
Well, and I think
mean, like
oh, go ahead, Mark.
One more thing, like people are listing in chat some of their names, like I agree, like Armit, Ruby Blue, Aka, like people who can question a little bit. Like even I really like Blue actually. I really like him. I like watching him on the international stage. I think he's a great personality. I actually really like Balulu, but like, is he so insane that like you need to sign him over an NA player? Like, no offense to Balulu. Again, I actually loved having him on the couch and talking with him, and he's someone I believe in a lot. But like him or Fleshy, like I did a thing with Fleshy. I clearly like Fleshy as a person, but like if I'm talking just strictly on a business level, like how is this worth it? Like I don't understand the GM thought process there. I don't think it actually really exists, if I'm being honest. Like I don't see how you can think that this is like somehow a better value proposition.
I mean,
I don't think it is.
That is, and that's kind of what I go back to, is also how many of these players like stick around for more than 1 year. Because
it's only because they get this connection or something that like this one person believes in them, and then they're out of the ecosystem when that person's out of their job, or
and that is my point too, is like
didn't carry the team.
If you're boomeranging talent in so often, then your numbers when you quote NACL player promotions as being too low, then I also feel like you need to include the amount of players that you bring over that actually end up working out in the ecosystem, or how many teams actually bring over players that work out or promote players that, or they bring them back from the past or something like that actually stick around. Because it's like you're not demonstrating that you have a better system. Whenever you bring in a player and then they leave in disgrace after a year, or because they decide that they don't like North America, or any number of different reasons, you haven't demonstrated to me that you have a superior system to using NACL talent that you refuse to use. Like that is it's disingenuous to use that as a talking point in my situation. I also I think it's so funny because like TL promoted 2 players from their team last year.
Yeah,
and
I'm not even blasting Steve in particular.
You're right. I know.
Some of the logic.
It's just like,
just the logic.
Did it really go so badly? Was Spring Split so bad for you after this promotion that you're like, fuck it, we don't want to have to ever do something like this again? Like it's just, I think it's annoying. And like, you mentioned Steve. I feel bad singling out Steve because I think Steve was one of the few teams that actually put out a meaningful like position on this, rather than just like posting an article that's like, or posting a post that's like, we're committed to NA development, even though we're dropping our NACL team, we're committed, don't worry guys. And
yeah,
so I really appreciate that he actually sat down and he's never been afraid to or he's never shied away from this stuff, but and so it's like hard to pick on him as the person whenever there's so many people that are unwilling to even like put their face out there. But I just here, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, finish up.
No, it's fine.
I was going to say the small olive branch I'll give to Steve as well is like the buyout situation was ridiculous. I think he made some good points about like the railroading that you do face, even if you do believe in NA talent, where like you thought this kid was good in academy, but like his team doesn't have a place for him, and you have a place for him, and now you have to pay like 200 grand for him. That existed before. I think with the bubble bursting, like the buyouts are gone, so like I don't think that's really the academy system problem necessarily. And there are times, like I said before, that NA pros don't want to play with NA academy players because they're not impressed by them and they don't think they're very good or something. I've heard that about specific players that the community is very excited about, and the reason they didn't get a spot was because like the players on that team might not have wanted them or whatever, you know. So like, you know.
You did a bang-up job of clearing out those raptors, adventurer. While you were down there, I happened to notice that one of those beasts stood out from the rest. He was bigger and more menacing. I bet he's the one who led the others here to cause the disruption to the dig site. I ask of you now one final task, adventurer. See to it that Sarletooth is brought to justice, and considering the gravity of his crimes, justice in this case means death. Bring me one of his talons as proof of his death. Ah, the Goa Stone is complete. Fine work, adventurer, fine work indeed. Now I can continue with the delicate translation of this Titan script. I can make out new words already. It says here, old gods, chained
He's
beneath
level
the land.
28,
This is the
but
beginning of...
I have confidence I can kill him. Like, or at least level 29. It might be a little scary if when I pull the pat he comes with it, but I think I'd still be fine. I do hope I get to it first. Get out me way. Snarletooth is mine. Unless he like spawns something.
Complete.
to get cleared out. Like, hello? Thank you.
So it's not just like team owners are the devil. There's like some other or I mean, some, I guess even the buyout one is a little bit their own fault too, or something. But like, you know, there is a little bit more going on, but it's still, I think, a little ridiculous to paint the problem like it was the academy system. I think the cost thing is another one. I'll give them, I'll agree on. Like, I'm pretty sure we're the most expensive D League in the world, the development league. Like, I think like the minimum guarantees that are required by like the state law stuff, which is like, on the one hand, I'm happy for the pros that they get it. On the other hand, like, I don't think, like, it does seem like a lot of money. And I understand that like having to be geolocated and provide housing and all this stuff raises costs, and like that stuff needed to get looked at. Like, it really did need to get looked at. And it's not like it was totally negligible. Like, I think 16%,
Yeah, but
if you can cut off
the Players
a
Association.
part of that, it's good.
I mean, Vulcan. To kind of tag you in here, it sounds like the costs around the that are kind of quoted or positioned by.
Thank you, adventurer. Your efforts here will not be forgotten. Many innocent dwarves died at this site, simply doing their jobs. The vengeance you delivered to those evil creatures should make them think twice before attacking King Magni's subjects ever again.
Kind of scared about this quest. He's level 30. I mean, I can kill him, but if there's things around, which there will be.
By the teams could have come down. Like, it sounded like you guys at the Players Association were trying to figure out ways to do that.
Yeah, we came with a few different solutions that teams could go for, working with Riot, try to figure out a solution, because it's true that the big thing is that you don't necessarily need your academy team to be based in LA. There's a lot of different states that they could be in where it would be cheaper. For example, Chicago, where they could have better ping for solo queue, they could have
Shit, man.
like for solo queue, they could just play their tournament games from the Chicago server, which is basically what's happening for an ACL from now on, I believe. So yeah, and also about the point that Steve made about the percentage of players actually getting promoted. While I agree that it's slow, if you have a percentage that's much higher, you just get players that get promoted. But then, if more players are getting promoted, the players that were promoted 2 years ago, are they getting kicked out and going back to McDonald's? Or like, how does that work, right? Because like, you developed a player that became good, he's not good, and he's getting better because he's playing LCS. And obviously, like, I'm not trying to say that the academy system was perfect the past few years, right? But like, I also don't feel like the percentage should be that high that you're like kicking players that are.
Yeah,
actually
it would
deserving.
be very interesting to know, like from a T-Sports perspective, how many players make it out of the development leagues there or get promoted up. Because I think 17% is like a nice, like, actually, so what was it? It was 17%, right? I think it's very funny because that number is suspiciously close to the quoted number of the costs that teams were spending on Academy. So it's like, guys, listen, 17%, such a low number. That's way too low for us to consider this. And it's like, from a budget perspective, guys, 17% is way too high. That's just way too much money to be spending on something. We can't do that. Or obviously, different situations. It's just funny that the numbers are so close and are being used in opposite directions
Well,
for these arguments.
The other thing too is like it's kind of like very cherry picked, because if I understood it, the 17% came from the number of players who played in the LCS while only playing in Academy beforehand, and I think it just I could be wrong, but I don't think it included people like Stixay or Dokla or like players who like bounced up and down and like came and left the league or and stuff like that. I don't think it included players who like got imported and then played there, or like I don't think Fudge counted because he played in Osh before. I could be wrong because like they didn't really get into exactly what that number was, but like it sounded like intentionally artificially deflated. And if you included everyone who played in Academy and is currently playing in LCS, like anyone who touched the Academy system, it went up to like 30 or 40%, I think. So like I could be wrong, but I saw people talking about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Enter the ship by the broken mast. Oh, he's right there. Okay. Spawns on the deck, that's no problem at all. No problem at all. Scary is going in the water.
I can't press that yet.
could have died. Hey, you're fucking welcome. Now I go back the way I came, and then I wait at the spawn till I kill him. your foobar, lol. Who says that, bro? I'm gonna try that another time. I'm gonna look for creepers, then hearth and log. It's been a good sesh, halfway to 30 hype. Oh, this one came out of nowhere. Blisters on the land. Target acquired, Warlock. Target acquired, Warlock. Gamania Bears. Some of the quests down here look pretty scary. I hate Ryan. That meant to be rain. Please be here. I want to log off so bad. But I still want to find 2 things and then turn in the quest, then Hearth and sell all my items. Check Bronze Tube. I'm not fucking checking Bronze Tube. Not this time. Got enough of Bronze Tube. I can craft it anyways as an engineer. Where's my auctioneer? Oh, there's gotta be some in here. No one's coming in here, right? No one's coming in here. Bugger all, bro. 2 more spawns. Sprinting to next location. You did not just do that, Kebabby. You did not! She did not just do that. She did not. Let me log out! Let me log out! If I hear that sweet, sweet stealth noise. Just need to hear that sweet, sweet stealth noise. Go away. I give up. I can do it later. I don't know why this bro is hanging
What
out
fill
over
your
here.
tankard and pull up a chair. We've stories to tell and kegs to empty.
Safe travels.
Looking for something specific? Be careful.
I don't think I've ever slept in Menethil. It's kind of weird with Flag and Gut right there. $29.